So what's the hardest part of being a head coach that no one sees? The behind the scene kind of grind. Can you tell us?
Late nights. I think that's something that all coaches probably can contest to, is whether you're preparing for a game, you're watching video 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Maybe you don't want to miss anything. Watching your practices, going through that process, developing scouts, building scouts, preparing for the next day, practice plans. I've been up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning with coaches doing a practice plan for a 10 a.m. practice, just making sure that you're always detailed and sharp, because in this business and in this thing, it's just like you always want to be as prepared as you can for your players. You don't want to come in and miss any checks. You want to make sure that all the boxes are checked and correct, and you have as much solutions as you can for the boys. But I will say that over my time, speaking of taking the coaching hat off, I've learned to, as a coach, find a little bit of a balance in my life, in my personal life, being able to enjoy me, enjoy people, enjoy a city that I'm living in. Sometimes in my past, I don't even go anywhere because I'm just like preparation, practice, watching film. It's already 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to sleep, or, whatever. And I think it takes the human out of you, right? And I think it's so important to make sure that you're living your life still. So I've always found it's good, and even talked to my coaches about doing things outside of basketball. Like, even for myself, I enjoy hitting a golf ball every now and then to kind of relieve my stress and just keep my mind off of it for an hour or two, and just enjoy myself, and, go on a bike ride, or, do stuff like that, go on a hike somewhere. I think that always helps balance you. And I think it helps clear your mind, to be sharper and more clear on what you want to do with your team. So that's what I try to do more often, especially as I grow older in this coaching business.
Do you meditate or something like that?
I don't. People have told me about it, and I know people that do. I just haven't done it yet. I would always think, can I meditate? I don't even know if I can go to that place yet. I'm thinking, I know my mom has, and I know people in my life have, but I might have to give it a try, because I heard people have only said good things about it. So yeah.
Okay. So what else? What else that still keeps you up at night?
I would say, the thought of worrying, right, about what's going to happen tomorrow, whether that's not necessarily a practice, I would say, but mostly the games, right? Tomorrow we play, Pelita Jaya, in a big showdown at 8 p.m. and you're thinking, dang, did I do everything I could? Did I watch everything? How's the game going to go? You're playing the game in your mind. You're thinking, are we going to do well in the first quarter? How should we respond in the third quarter? And what am I going to do here when they do this? And you're just running through scenarios. And I think that that's not too healthy for you. It's also natural to do that, to be honest. That's what I always try to tell the guys. Like, just like everybody else, even though we've won a lot of awards here or whatever, we're no better than the next person. We don't look at it like that. But we would say that somebody say, hey, coach, I'm nervous. And I said, that's normal. I feel a little bit of butterflies in my stomach. Yep, that's fine. Accept and appreciate all those feelings. Every time I played a game in my whole life, I was nervous. I might have been like I told you before, we play a team, maybe we're 20 points better than them. But before tip-off, I was nervous. Always, and it wasn't like, I was nervous because I was scared. It was just like, you have all these thoughts in your head of what could go right or could go wrong, and you just always think about it. But once you really get to the flow in the game, all that stuff goes out the window, and you just, do what you do, which you get into your element, right? And so I think that's probably the stuff that you think about the most. I probably would say I have to apologize to my coaches, because sometimes I call them late, and their wives, because I'm thinking their wives probably like, why are you answering the phone at 1 a.m. in the morning when Coach Dave is calling and asking you about, hey, what should we do here? What do you think about this? So, sometimes I have to give them boundaries too. But they've been great. They've been there for me. So it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your biggest fear as a leader?
To disappoint people. I think you have to expect that as a leader, though. I think as a leader, you're always going to disappoint people. But I just think I came into this thing thinking, man, you know what? I want everybody to like me. And I think that was the wrong thing, because that's not what it's about necessarily. If they like you, it's going to naturally happen. And if they don't, that is also totally fine, because really what you're trying to teach is lessons. You're trying to take them from A to B, whatever that destination that they want to go. And then, hopefully you've done everything you can to try to help them succeed. And within that, just trying to do your best. But I think that's always been my thing, is just not doing everything I can for the person, for the player. And that's why I think I'm so passionate. I work as hard as I can. Probably could do better. Everybody can do better. But, that's something that I always think about. And I think up in maybe till this year, speaking to some people, and I said, I think you have to expect to disappoint people in leadership, because, everybody's not gonna, I don't think any leader in the history of life has ever not disappointed someone, whether it's the greatest coach ever, or the greatest, war general ever, or whoever. It's just, that's how life is. So just trying to, hopefully do everything I can and make sure that whenever my season is done with that type of that team, that I've done and exhausted everything I can to help them.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's good. Thank
Yeah.
you. And what is something you are still trying to figure out as a coach?
Yeah, I think that's a great one, because that is my next phase of my growth, is continuing to learn. I mean, one thing we can never stop doing in this life is learn, but we never have all the answers. I definitely don't have all the answers. I'm, always trying to find and learn from European leagues and NBA and whoever I can, coaching friends of mine, and just staying within it. I think my biggest thing is probably my sideline activity. I guess, is that a good word? To just be more of a calming presence at times for people, especially for the players. And maybe I'm a very passionate person. I'm very into the game. I would say maybe European like, with the coaches that run around and throw their hands up all the time. Maybe not as bad, but who knows? But the reality is, I think, controlling that, because as a leader, you want to also them to look at you and be calm when they see you. You want to be able to give them clear messages and clear advice. And I think there's been times in my career where I've been so fired up that maybe I wasn't able to give the feedback that was proper in that moment. And being able to have a clear mind always supersedes the crazy, angry mind. So I think emotional stuff on the sideline is definitely one of them. And then just continuing to grow in regards to, video, player development, every area, to be quite honest. I think personally, that's probably the most thing, is probably my emotions, but I think it also makes who I am in a way. I don't think we remember Obradovich or, some of these guys if they were just like quiet coaches. But he's almost 70 years old, and he's red faced, and he's and I think people will forever remember him because of that too. So, but again, there's a balance. There's definitely a balance, and I think I can do better with that. But overall, in general, I will say that this is something that's been on my mind lately. I want to grow in every area as a coach. I think I can pick out one specific area, but I think there's so much more to learn in basketball. There is.
I saw it firsthand, like you were intense on the court
Yes.
side, because last year BCL in
Yes.
Mongolia,
Right.
as a coach, Dave never
Absolutely.
changed. He's
No, man,
intense.
hey, and that's where, that's a funny point, because my mother, as you
Uh,
know, she'll I remember early on in the process, she's like, "Did you watch the video of your game?" I'm like, you're thinking, why is she saying that? She going, "You can't do that." She was saying, you gotta just watch yourself. You need to calm down and stuff like that. Because it's a mom, it's your mom, right? And then when she said that, I'm thinking, she's probably right. And so it's not an easy thing to control, I'll be honest, because you're so invested, and you're just fighting so hard. Really, I feel like I'm fighting for them. But like I said, I don't want to get in the way. My emotions get in the way of their emotions, you know? And so I think that's something that I continue to want to grow. And I know that I really have to make a bigger effort on that area.
okay.